Hello and welcome on another episode of The Average EV. Today we are going to be checking out adaptive cruise control and super cruise on the 2024 Chevrolet Equinox EV. Let's get into it. All right, everybody. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be going on a drive. I'm actually going to go to a Tesla supercharger with a magic dock to test something out. But I thought, you know what, this would be a great time to record an adaptive cruise control and super cruise video. So the way it's going to be formatted is, first I'm going to do all the adaptive cruise control stuff because some people might be buying a Chevrolet Equinox EV without super cruise and they want to know what they're going to get and how it works. So I'll do that first. And then the second part is going to be super cruise and me just going over how to use it and initial impressions and stuff like that. I've enjoyed my time with super cruise so far, so hopefully that will be nice and clear to you all in this video. So first thing I want to do, I just want to flip around the camera and show all the buttons. If you've already seen my driver display or driver information center video, I've gone over the buttons a little bit, but I just want to refresh people's recollections so they know what they're looking at for this video. All right, here is the steering wheel. Here are all of our buttons that kind of work with super cruise and adaptive cruise control. So first thing is first, this button right here turns it on and off. If you look right there in the gauge cluster, you'll see it turn on and off. And that means completely on, completely off. It is my observation that once you turn it on, it will stay on every drive. So when I get back in the car, it's already on. If you want to completely turn it off, you would have to do that every time if you wanted to do that, but I just leave it on and it doesn't really cause me any issues. Next is this button. This just, if you have cruise control set and you want to just cancel it, that is the button to cancel cruise control, but it will not completely turn it off. Then down here, if you have it, is the super cruise button. Here is the set and resume button. So if you pull down at whatever speed, it'll set the speed for you. And then obviously, if you were to cancel it and then hit up, it'll resume back to the speed that you were at. And then if you have it set and you wanted to adjust the speed up or down, you just go click, 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 and it'll do that. If you want to go up by, I believe it's by 5, you kind of have to hold it for a while and then it starts going up by 5s. It's not my favorite system. I really like how in some other cars, if you like do a soft press, it's 1. If you do a hard press, it's 5. But it is what it is, and it's really not the biggest deal in the world. Then here, this button, you can only push down on it, and it will change your gap adjust for your adaptive cruise control. I've actually enjoyed using one, and I find it to be very safe, and I feel like the car does a good job braking, so that's what I would recommend. But if you like to have a big space in between you and the car in front of you, then set it to 2 or 3. And then lastly, we have the super cruise button. So when you want to go into super cruise, if you have it, you press this button. It might be blue. It'll show up somewhere on here, and here it'll be blue. And then when it's set, it'll be green. And lastly, if for some reason it were to cancel out and stop working, this would flash red and your seat actually buzzes, which is interesting. And the car kind of, it just keeps going. It doesn't necessarily start to put on the brakes super hard, but it coasts a little bit. And as soon as you put your hand back on the wheel, it'll resume back to the speed that you had set for your adaptive cruise control. So, you know, my hand is like right here usually, and then I just grab really quick if I need to. Sometimes I even forget and I have my hand on the steering wheel. But you don't need to with super cruise. And then I think that's pretty much it with the super cruise system. I'll get into more of it when we go driving. But that's it. So let's go ahead, let's get on the road and let's go over adaptive cruise control. All right, everyone, here we are on the road. Hopefully you can see everything here. Right now, I have nothing turned on. I don't have adaptive cruise control. I don't have super cruise on. So I'm gonna turn on adaptive cruise control by clicking that button there. It's now up here there, but it is not set. You can actually see next to it, hopefully. If you can't, it's two lines with a little car in the middle saying that lane keep assist is on. Now this car does not come with lane centering. The only way you get lane centering is with Super Cruise, which is a little bit unfortunate, but a lot of people don't mind. I kind of mind because I've gotten so used to it with the ID4, but I wanted to bring that up just in case you were wondering. So now I am going to set adaptive cruise control. Obviously, this isn't the best place to set it because it's kind of stop and go, but here we go. It's set to 45 miles an hour. Green means it's actively working. The lane keep assist is working. I can't test that right now for you, but I hope to do so in a little bit. And then I have, again, one gap set. So it's keeping a nice distance. And what I'm hoping is we'll come up to a stoplight and you'll see how kind of smooth the stopping is for the Equinox here, just on adaptive cruise control. It's something I've really been enjoying and like way better than the ID4. While I sing high praises of travel assist on the ID4, I think that the stopping is pretty bad. So here I'm going to bump the speed up a little bit. I believe it's 55 now. And there we go. Yep. So not really showing off the adaptive right now because the car is really far ahead of me. I have an opportunity here to kind of show the lane keep assist. So my hands here a little bit. It's covering. I'm just going to intentionally kind of go a little out of the lane. And yeah, it just bumped me back over. So that worked nicely. And you can see that Super Cruise has actually popped up, but I'm not going to activate that right now because this isn't the best road for Super Cruise. So now you can see the car in front of me is going a little bit slower than the speed limit, so it is adapting 53 miles per hour. Yeah, and it's working like adaptive cruise control should. Can't really complain about that. I'm going to keep driving a little bit here, and then when I get to a stop, I kind of want to show how nice and smooth the stop works with adaptive cruise control. Here we're coming up on a little bit of a slow. Adaptive cruise control is still on. The speed did drop down to 50, so I went ahead and dropped that down. And again, it's doing a nice job keeping the distance from the car in front of me. It looks like we got a green light up here. So yeah, it's so natural, and I'm not sure if you all are able to really tell from the video, but for me driving, nothing is abrupt. Everything is very, very, very gradual. If it needs to be faster, it is, but it still doesn't feel like the car doesn't have control of what it's doing. So really enjoying this system. All right, so we're gonna keep driving on here. Once we get on to 695, which is 795, I'll put Super Cruise on. Here is a stop. Again, I'm going 47 miles an hour, 44 to 40. It's slowing down real natural. There went a little bit harder, but I still felt really safe. Plenty of space in front of me. And there, came to a complete stop. Now, here we stopped and traffic moved on and we kept going. I am pretty positive that if you stay for an extended period of time, you will have to use the accelerator pedal to get you going again, but it'll automatically pop into the settings you had, whatever speed you had. I'll double check later to make sure that's true, but I'm almost positive in my experiences that if I had to sit for a long time at a light, you just have to kind of push it. And that's pretty common in a lot of adaptive cruise control systems. So now I'm gonna sign off with the adaptive cruise control, and then the next video you'll see will be Super Cruise. So if you're someone who does not plan on getting Super Cruise, there is the adaptive cruise control system. I really do enjoy it. I think it works really well. And I guess the only negative is I wish it had lane centering, which it does not have. Lane centering is so crucial, at least to me, and I think it's a safety feature worth having. And this car has the equipment to do lane centering, so I don't know why they don't just add it in, but here we are. So now I have Super Cruise engaged. Again, this icon will pop up. It just looks like a steering wheel with the Super Cruise bar. And then you push the Super Cruise button and it will turn on. Actually, what I'll do is I'll turn it off and then I'll show you. So see, it's white right now. I have adaptive cruise control on. I press it and that time it turned on immediately. And there it is, Super Cruise. Sometimes if it's not quite ready, it'll be blue, but you just kind of hold, make sure it's in the lane, and eventually it'll take over. So as you can see, my hands are, well, hopefully you can see my hands are on my knees, or you can hopefully believe me, you can put them in any position you want, but obviously you should have them very close to the steering wheel because if for some reason you would need to take over emergently, you want to be able to do so without there being any sort of safety risk. So I think the knees is a great place. It's also pretty comfortable to leave it down here, or even if you're like me, and I'm more of a one-handed driver, just having the one hand so you can take over. Whatever works for you, but I think the two on the knees is probably the safest bet when it comes to Super Cruise. And you can see it's keeping me in the center of the lane, doing a really nice job maintaining the speed limit. And you can see all the cars are passing me, but I am going the speed limit right now, which is 60 miles an hour on 695. Now, I'm really interested because I'm gonna put this through a little bit of a test. Up here, this 3-lane becomes a 4-lane with a split. So I just wanna see what happens and what it chooses to do versus what I wanna do, because basically I'm gonna have to take over, I believe, to make sure I get into the option lane that I want. And then I also wanna see what happens on the exit ramp to see how it takes it. And if you actually, I have my hand on the steering wheel right now. If you look right here, there's a little car. Hopefully y'all can see. If not, when you're on a curve, it actually turns to a curve and the car does slow down slightly to adapt to curves, which is nice, but it's not super harsh. I was in the Hyundai Ioniq 5 with HDA2 and woo, man, that thing would really slow you down on curves. A little bit too much where it wasn't natural and arguably unsafe. So here we are at that split, and yeah, it seems as though that the programming is to follow the left line. So if you come to some kind of split like that, you're gonna wanna make sure you take over and direct the car to where you want. You can see here it's blue and now it's green. So that's what I was talking about. The blue flashes when it recognizes that you've taken over and chosen to drive, but then it comes right back when it feels as though that you are no longer making any sort of maneuvering that would require human input. So here we are on this exit. My hands are covering right now. Let's just see what happens. You can see that there's the curve, it's taking the curve nicely. And down there's a little icon for the curve. Now, I don't know if it always curves the direction that the car goes. It's gone away now, and it handled that really, really nice. So enjoyed that. Now we're gonna merge onto the infamous 695. If I said I was on 695, I was on 795. Now I'm on 695. And I'm gonna merge over. This does have automatic lane change. So all of the new Altium vehicles with Super Cruise have automatic lane change. So you just can softly tap, or you can put it all the way down, it doesn't matter. And when it feels like it's ready, it'll make the lane change for you. And there it goes, auto lane change complete. So that worked nicely. You can have it set up where it'll completely automatically make lane changes for you and make decisions for you. I actually wasn't enjoying the logic on that. I felt like it was choosing to get over when it didn't need to, and then sometimes it would get over and it doesn't always get over fast enough because the car behind you might be going faster than the car anticipates, and then you have to put in a little bit of input into the accelerator pedal. So I like it where you set it up and you do it on your own, and that kind of works for me. But there we are. So yeah, it's just cruising right now. Again, I have the gap distance set to 1. Here, I'll go through the different screens so you can see what they look like right now. Got some stuff going on with these cars. So this shows that there's a car in front of me. Let's see how it handles this. Really natural. That was so good. There we go. Speed up to get to the car in front of me. Yeah, it's doing a really nice job. And again, aside from the time where I had to take over just because it was a confusing decision, this has not canceled at all on its own. No disengagements. Now, just a reminder, this is not AI like Tesla full self-driving, where it'll make decisions for you, so you still have, as a driver, have to make decisions, which I'm honestly completely fine with that and would almost prefer it. I have spent some time driving with full self-driving beta, or sorry, supervised, I think it was 12.3.4, and I wasn't the biggest fan, although it worked decently well, but there were some issues here and there that I didn't like. But when you add the human input for some of those things, it kind of takes away those things that I didn't like. And as you see, it brought us to a complete stop. Super Cruise is still engaged, and it started going on its own. I'm going to cycle back to my favorite view. Avalon's doing something up there. Just for fun, let's go ahead and put on 3 gaps just to see what that looks like. While we're waiting for these cars to go, you can see I'm getting pretty good efficiency right now, way better than my range test. I had a feeling if it was like kind of driving like this everyday driving for people, that the efficiency would be good. Right now, with 4.2 miles per kilowatt hour, I would get well over 300. I think I would be in the ballpark of almost 330, 340 miles if this was my regular driving every day. So that's pretty good. Now, of course, this is one way. I bet this would even out to 3.6 or 3.7 on the return trip, but still pretty good efficiency at normal driving speeds. In Maryland, we can't really go any faster than 60 or 65. There are a couple roads like 70 where I do my 70 mile per hour range test where you can go 70 miles per hour, but they are few and far between here in Maryland. So if you live in Maryland, this is a great car efficiency wise. Okay, so now you can see the bigger gap being kept. I'm gonna bump it down to 2 so you can see what that looks like. And then down to 1, which is my preference. Love to hear your preference down in the comments, which one you think you like the best, but I think, especially with how confident I am with it stopping and adjusting to drivers, that I would most likely just leave it on 1 the majority of the time. But tell me what you would do. And then what I'll do is I'm going to do one more lane change, and then I'm actually going to wrap up the video because I don't want this to be like those FSD beta videos. But I wanted people to at least have a little bit of an idea what Super Cruise is going to look like, especially in a traffic scenario. We saw it kind of going nicely down 795 at speeds. We've seen it come to a complete stop, and we've seen it deal with this stop and go traffic really nicely. If I had to drive a long distance on a highway, I would enjoy this system. So now I'm gonna re-engage auto lane change. And again, I'm still checking with my eyes to make sure everything looks good, and everything was, and it merged over here. It sped up a little bit to get to the speed limit, which is actually 55, so I should bump that down. And there it is. So once I get to a place where I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video for everyone. Okay, everyone, it's a little bit later in the day. It was raining and stuff like that, and I was trying to do some tests. So I finally made it back to give my final thoughts here about the adaptive cruise control and the Super Cruise. So first, with adaptive cruise control, really great stopping, coming to a complete stop. It feels very natural to me, very similar to when I had my Tesla. I really like that about the Tesla. And also about my brother's Tesla and other Tesla I've driven. It's all similar, really love it. No lane centering really stinks. I wish it had it. The lane keep assist is fine, but it's not lane centering. So don't be under the impression that lane keep assist and lane centering are the same. They are not. And then the car will hold at a stop and it will need driver input to go. Now, if you're at the stop very briefly, it will keep rolling. But if you're there for an extended period of time, like waiting at a stoplight, you will need to push the accelerator to move it. Now, for Super Cruise, awesome, love it. Glad I got it, even though for my daily use, I don't use it a ton. I can use it a little bit when I drive to the gym, but that's about it for me. Almost no interventions on pre-map highways. The whole time I was with you all, no interventions, like it didn't stop working. I did have to steer it over because it wasn't AI, so it didn't know which way to go. That's fine. It's not intended to do that, and it does require some human input, which, like I told you all earlier in the video, is a good thing. When there are interventions, they usually happen near stoplights or exit/highways. I've noticed that a lot on pre-map highways that have some stoplights. When you get close to the stoplight, it'll be like, oh, I don't know this road, no map information. And then once you get past the stoplight, you'll be able to activate it again. And then it appears, just because I talked about this earlier in the video, I had one opportunity where I was able to do this. It appears when it comes to a stop, it will automatically go when you have Super Cruise on. But that was the only opportunity I had. If anyone wants to throw it down in the comments, that would be great. But I'm pretty sure that that is true. If not, I'm sure someone in the comments will correct me. And I might even, I think I can pin that. So if someone does correct me, I'll pin that up at the top. But that's for Super Cruise, not for adaptive cruise control. And then my final thoughts here, just it's a great system. Definitely worth the money if you're going to drive on highways a lot. It's $2,700, but it just makes driving so easy. And if you're on the highway a lot and you got stop and go traffic and you're going to work, it is totally worth it, in my opinion. When you get Super Cruise, you get 3 years. It is, and then eventually you're gonna have to pay for subscription. So if you get to that scenario where your 3 years is over and you find you don't use it a lot, like that might be me, where I find that I'm not using it as much as I thought I was going to, then I would just activate the subscription when I need to. So if I'm gonna go on a road trip, okay, I'll pay for a month, and then I'll cancel it after that, and that's what I would do. Especially if maybe you pick this up in the aftermarket, you know, they depreciate, and you know, you get a really good deal with a vehicle with Super Cruise on it. Just activate it for when you need to use it. So that's all I have. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Love Super Cruise, like the adaptive cruise control, but wish I had lane centering. Yep. So anyways, that's all I have. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please remember to give a like and a subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Follow me on X. Follow my sister channel, EV Charging Site Reviews. And I will catch you all next time.